Okay. We shall begin. I welcome you to the Wednesday, November 9th meeting of the Transportation Committee. June Dobby is unable to be here, and so I am going to fill in and preside over this meeting for tonight. We will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I would like to just say that I'm his alternate, so I'm a different face on the dais tonight, but I'm Mayor Don's alternate committee member, Elizabeth Lewis.
Thank you.
Thank you for letting me.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Teresa, could we have the roll call, please?
John Carroll.
Here.
Herb Erickson.
Here.
Larry Sweeney.
Here.
Joan Solari.
Here.
Gene Shape.
Here.
Councilmember Keithen.
Here. And as mentioned, Councilmember Elizabeth Lewis is filling in for Mayor Dobby. Has everyone had an opportunity to review the minutes from the September 13th meeting? Are there any changes that anyone would like to see made?
Move approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Does any-
Abstain.
Yes, we were not here. There was an abstention from Elizabeth. Anyone not approve the minutes? All right. Are there any committee reports? Seeing none, are there any public comments? Yes. Public comments are for items that are not on the agenda and are limited, please, to 3 minutes.
Yes,
And if you could please state your name and address.
I will.
Thank you.
Roberta Rudy, 66 Holbrook Lane. We have lived there since 1988.
Could you step up to the podium so that it can be recorded? Thank you.
Yes. Do I have to start again?
No, go right ahead. Thank
We
you.
have lived at that address since 1988. We were delighted to be part of the community. We were involved with the barrier issues in the 90s. And so when the latest traffic issues came up, we were involved, but we weren't as involved as before. I think some of us were burned out. We now, after declaring that we did not want any changes on Holbrook, we did not want to be limited to a left turn, we now find out that we will be forced to just make a left turn. Over the years that we've been there, traffic on Middlefield has really increased, as you know. I don't know why, but it has. But my husband and I, he would be here, except he's on a business trip. He's in flight as I speak, so he's very vehement about this. So I'm really representing him as much as myself. It's very dangerous to make that left turn from 7 to 9 in the morning. I stated that to the handful of people in our community who are forcing this through. And I understand it's not a study, that might be a done deal, and I did not know this. So, again, loving the community, trying to not be too obstinate. I understand that they want this. But we would like to request, my husband and I, and there are others, that perhaps those of us that are residents on Holbrook Lane could get a sticker or some kind of pass so that we could make that right-hand turn in the morning. Just the ones that travel that way. It's the best way for us to go. My husband and I work, and we go out to 280. I don't know if that's possible. I did go to the police station on Monday, and I talked to them. Oops, and I'm
No,
done.
you have time. No,
Oh,
no.
I do?
You have
Okay.
another minute.
And so that's our request. Is there some way, given what has happened, and again, it's not the community that wants this, it's just a few people that are pushing this through and will not relent. Could we possibly get some kind of leverage that way so that we could make that right-hand turn and be safer in the morning? Thank you.
That is not an item on the agenda. We cannot take action on it. That's something that Ed, no doubt you can speak with the city manager, and if it's appropriate, have it placed on our agenda.
Okay. I'd like to comment on it.
Sure.
I've never heard of such a thing, and although I completely understand your concerns about wanting to make that right turn, it really is an all or nothing. The sign has to apply to everybody. If other motorists see you turning and they turn, and they go, well, why don't I get a sticker? I go that way too. So it really does open up Pandora's box. Very problematic. Haven't seen that around the state, not even when I was with the California Highway Patrol. So that would be very unorthodox to say the least, and probably problematic for law enforcement, and probably generate complaints as well.
You can try speaking further with Ed and the city manager. You probably have your response there.
Okay.
Thank you.
And may I comment?
No, we
Okay.
cannot comment on it because it's not on the agenda.
That's why I asked.
But it's an exciting issue. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Any other public comments? Yes, Virginia Ruggiero.
Virginia Ruggiero, Stockbridge Avenue. I want to commend the police department for their actions on Stockbridge. I looked at the stats, and it's 22 stops. However, it was only 3 citations, and I think we need more citations, because I don't think anybody's going to worry about getting stopped, probably knowing that they're not going to go forward any further. So I just wanted to get that in. Also, I wanted to ask the police department about the status of our digital sign. Our digital speed sign. Is there any movement on that?
I submitted it to be put in the budget for next year. I don't know where it stands at this point.
Okay, but you're hoping we'll get,
It was submitted to be put in the budget.
yeah. Because we have constant speeders, and I think they're clueless. I mean, you see the 25 miles an hour, but if they saw the sign and saw that it's supposed to be 25 and you're going 40, let's slow down. So I think it would really be a help, and I'm really gonna push to get it pushed through. Thank you.
Anyone else? All right. Thank you. There are no presentations this evening, and I have had a request that we please move 6.2 up to the front of the agenda items. Is that all right with fellow members of the committee?
Yes.
All right. Seeing that no one is in disagreement, we will begin with item 6.2, which is a discussion and possible action to install a keep clear zone eastbound on Atherton Avenue at Odell Place.
No, that's not, no. You're looking at minutes.
Oh, I'm looking at minutes, thanks. These are the keep clear zones at the 4 different intersections.
Right.
Middlefield at Watkins, Middlefield at Fair Oaks, Middlefield at Linden, and Middlefield at James. Thanks. I wondered, I looked at these and Barb Hayden's name was not on that. All right, thank you. Barb, yes, please. Thank you, Joan.
I'm Barb Payton. I live in 82 Flood Circle. I'm a 30-year resident of Atherton, all 30 years living in Lindenwood. In the past few months, the traffic in the morning has become horrendous. We cannot, there is no way you could possibly make a left turn out of the Linden Gate, which is always a challenge, 24/7, or a left turn out of James Gate because of the flow of traffic coming from Marsh Road, and coming south out of Redwood City. So there is a constant stream of traffic from roughly 7:50 in the morning until usually after 9 o'clock in the morning. So your only option to get out of Lindenwood is to turn right. Once you have turned right, and say you want to get over to the El Camino area or any place north or west, you would want to turn onto Watkins or possibly Fair Oaks. But the traffic just streams until it comes to a stop, and then nobody gives you an opportunity, except for the occasional Good Samaritan, to make a left turn where they give you space. So on a chance encounter with Mr. Sweeney a week or so ago, I was complaining about our traffic issues, and I just never remember them in 30 years being as bad as they are now. I don't understand it. And I have tried going further north. So I thought, all right, nobody's going to let me turn left on Watkins off of Middlefield. So I went up to Fair Oaks. It's the same situation, except you don't have the Marsh Road traffic. The traffic coming out of Redwood City is all the way up to Fifth Avenue. So it's extremely difficult. I'm the only one that this impacts. Maybe I'm just the vocal one that impacts. So I thought, what can we do about this? And as I was driving down the Alameda, and the firehouse on the Alameda in Menlo Park, says, keep clear. I wondered if that might be an option for some of these intersections along Middlefield Road. I'm best talking about Fair Oaks and Watkins because those are my opportunities to exit. Obviously, we have a light at Encinal, so that's a non-issue. Linden and Glenwood possibly could use a clear. And then I understand there are traffic problems further south by Menlo Atherton High School. But anyways, that is what I wanted to bring to your attention and see if we could find a solution to this problem. It's also difficult going the other way. I was trying to turn into Lindenwood tonight at about 5:15, and a Good Samaritan stopped, flashed his lights, and allowed me to make a left turn into the James Gate. But there again, people are not thoughtful about this, and is there a solution?
Any questions from committee members?
I have a comment, and that is, you were mentioning the morning. I find it's really bad at night too, from like 4 to 6, 4 to 7. And I think it's a combination of the school traffic and just commute traffic during those hours. I guess the thing that I don't completely understand is I'm not sure what's changed from last year because it really seems a lot worse this year than last. The school hours I checked are the same for MA and Encinal. They haven't changed. So I'm really not sure. And I was wondering about the signal timing, whether that signal timing is off and how synchronized they are. I think the idea of keep clear zones would at least help some, particularly when the traffic's just dead stopped, which happens quite a lot now. Yeah.
Could I ask for the police's opinion on these keep clear zones? One, their efficacy and legality.
Yeah, I mean, they're legal. If we were to paint a keep clear sign in the intersections and somebody was to stop upon it, then they could be cited under the vehicle code. So they are legal, it would just have to be painted and clearly marked.
Could I ask a question?
And as far as the cost and how quickly it could be done, Mike?
Not sure of the cost, but once approved, if you want all 4 intersections to be done, it can be done. I mean, it's something I think process-wise we need to take to the city council. And so the next opportunity to do that will be at your December meeting. And as far as the cost, that's something we can have as part of that report, but it will be an ongoing cost because, this is just paint. And, in order to make it legible and keep it legible, it's going to have to be repainted at least once a year.
Couldn't this be put on a consent agenda for November council meeting? It's not that intricate an issue.
If we can,
For November?
for
Yes.
November.
It's already, yeah, the agenda packet's ready to go out tomorrow, and because
Oh.
Friday's holiday.
Okay. All right. Joan?
I guess my question is for Anthony. Isn't it already against the law to block an intersection? So are we spelling out for people in the middle of the intersection what the law is? So isn't that a waste of our time and money to tell people already what is, when they sign their driver's license, what is implied by their knowing the law?
There is an anti-gridlock law in the vehicle code which does not permit you to stop at an intersection or block it. So yes, by painting these on the ground, you are just spelling out for people that you can't stop there. It's just more reinforcement. But if it is painted on there and then somebody does stop there and we do issue them a citation, then we've got proof that it's painted on the ground, so most likely it'll hold up in court a lot better.
I think to kind of follow up on that too, I think at some of those intersections, it's not like there's a traffic light there that it's not really that
Oh, I
obvious,
travel it quite a bit,
Yeah.
I know it very well.
particularly at
And I'm
night.
someone who does stop behind the crosswalk and wait for people to do it. And I'm not a good Samaritan, I'm just following the law. So, I mean, I go back and forth between
No, I'm-
spoon feeding every, thing to people and actually,
My
living
point
life.
is, I think
Yeah.
for a lot of people who aren't familiar with it, it may not be obviously an intersection until they're stopped at it.
Right.
So,
It's a minimal enough cost that if
Yeah.
it awakens an understanding for people, and it's such a difficult passageway on each of those 4 intersections, if it makes life easier at such a minimal cost and safer, because
Sure.
people try and scoot
People,
through.
if people follow through,
Yeah.
people actually adhere to the rule.
So,
I have a comment.
yes, Elizabeth.
Thank you. So on Valparaiso, we have the same situation, morning and night, because of Sacred Heart, because of Menlo School, and you can't get out of Emily, you can't get out onto Johnson, you can't, get onto Crane, and a lot of the homes can't get out of their driveway because there are homes that are all along there. And I carpool and I take a little child who lives at the corner of Arbor and Valparaiso. And so, I'm just trying to imagine if we painted these keep clear sections at every one of those intersections along Valparaiso, then at every intersection, how that will really affect the look of obviously the look, but then always, you back up and back up and back up. And so how much further will the traffic just continue to back up? I just I'd like to see, before this committee makes a recommendation, it's more investigation about it from the Public Works and from the Police Department as to, what other methods of remediation could be done. Maybe the signaling is not staggered correctly. Maybe the incidental traffic light is really the culprit.
That's something we can take a look at the signal, however, in order to create that platooning of cars that you're talking about, so that it does create the gaps, it really requires signal space at a certain interval. And when you take a look at the signals on Middlefield, there isn't enough signals there currently to create that platooning, so you can coordinate the signals to create the gaps so people does have the opportunity to turn left.
There's really only 3. There's one at Oak Grove, there's one at Encinal, and then one at Marsh, and then one at Fifth Avenue.
And, and those signals right now are timed because what you're describing is just a lot of cars. And Middlefield is, pretty much, it's a 2-lane arterial. And so the way those signals are timed is really a combination of getting cars, through there as efficiently and quickly as possible. But that's something you can always take a look at. The other comment that I have is that, unless I'm missing something here, I understand that there's a lot of cars, and it's just bumper to bumper. If you put the keep clear, well, for people who are turning left, you still have a visibility problem, because cars are gonna be stopped. You may have that intersection open, but turning left, you're still not gonna be able to see, you're not gonna have that good visibility of seeing oncoming cars that you're turning left into. And so, from a safety standpoint, I'm not sure that that's creating a more safe environment. And for those who are just trying to turn right, then basically what that is it's dictating that courtesy. Because really, you're just now you're gonna get in there.
Into
But
the
now,
keep clear area.
you're gonna be blocking traffic if
Right.
cars aren't moving.
Right.
Right.
Which
So-
just happens when you're a good Samaritan, the same thing happens.
So.
There, if I may, there's no visibility problem in the morning because the cars are coming, as I am exiting the James Gate, turning right, and I want to and I have a lane that I can go into, make a left turn onto Watkins. But that traffic, believe me, there's no visibility problem. It's just a total stream of traffic. Marsh, the light stops, the light comes down, and all the cars flow in from Redwood City. So it's just a constant stream, and I chose 7:50 purposefully because I tried 7:45. I can get out at 7:45. I believe it's the parents delivering the children, people going to work, things like that. But there's no visibility problem as far as being able to see. And there's only one lane. It's not like there's a second lane where somebody could be also trying to make a right turn. So.
If I can add one thing to what Michael said, not only do you have to keep clear and cars are stopping, you can't see the cars coming, you can't see the bicyclists that are riding on the right side of the cars. So in all reality, a motorist could say that the cars are stopped and they can make that left turn, but if the bicycle doesn't realize they have to stop and the car makes that turn, there's going to be a collision between the bike and the car. And unfortunately, the loser in those collisions is always the bicyclist.
May I make a comment? I was over at the Linden Wood and Middlefield thing this evening. Of course, I've been over there many other times before, James and so forth, and there is a real problem. It's very dangerous. I was going from the Linden Gate straight onto Glenwood, and I waited and I waited, and I did get there. But, you know, I'm praying that, you know, I make it safely and don't, you know, harm anything. I think, from my own experience, and I'm just speaking about my experience, these keep clear intersections are sort of like a flag that when you're driving, you know, you get into a zone and you're driving. But these keep clear, they sort of focus you, and you think, oh, yes, I see that, there's the fire engine, or there's, you know, the fire station, or whatever. And you stop, and you take time, and the people behind you don't hit you, and you go forward when you can. I think it's a marvelous idea, frankly.
Public comment. I'll bring it back to the council.
I don't think it's a great idea. I do travel that. I've lived in Lindenwood. I now live on Holbrook Lane. I am one of those horrible parents who takes their child to Encinal every morning. You just have to wait and be patient and leave 15 minutes early. We have traffic. This town is impacted with tons of traffic. And the keep clear signs are going to work for 15 minutes, but you know, as soon as people get wise to it, they're going to start pulling it. They're not supposed to be there in the first place when they're doing it. So waiting for someone courteous is what we're going to have to do. We live in a town, in a part of our town especially, where we have a ton of traffic. And I don't like it, but I just don't see that I think that the safety issues that Mike and Anthony are bringing up are more of an issue as someone who rides their bike and rides their child to school on a bike sometimes, than the idea that someone's, you know, going to follow these rules and we're going to put them in place and they're going to fix our traffic problem. I don't see that happening. If I thought that was going to happen, I'd be all for it. But I just don't see that being the fix. And I see it causing more problems than solutions.
Anyone else?
Well, I disagree respectfully. I think we should try something. And this seems to me to not be a very expensive or a risky thing to try. It's a safety issue now. I also don't agree that it increases the risk by putting this in. I mean, they have these at quite a few other intersections around town. And I think it will make people more aware that they need to let cars in when it's gridlocked. And it really does get backed up. Another problem down at the other end, by the way, is that the traffic is backing up from the Ravenswood light through the Oak Grove light. And so you can sit there for, 4 Oak Grove cycles trying to get any place past Oak Grove when you're heading south. And, the Ravenswood light is not timed to favor traffic coming down Middlefield heading south.
Can I just add on to that? And then I'll let you finish, just because it's not just that, it's then the Ravenswood left turn light that's going into Menlo Atherton High School, at that far end, the the return of Ravenswood.
Yeah,
It's
no, I-
Ringwood, Ravenswood,
Right, I know.
and so that left-hand turn lane gets all blocked up into the Ringwood coming over,
Yeah.
because people are coming down Ringwood, going into,
It's a mess.
I go there every morning, it's really a big mess. So, I don't know,
But the thing, again, I'm baffled by why
Yeah.
it seems so much worse this year than last year.
it's pretty bad.
So I think it would be good if they could look at the signal timing issue and see if that really is optimal, but I assume you have to coordinate with Menlo Park on the Ravenswood light. That's not an Atherton light.
In the last year, Duncan has spent a lot of time before we, trying to coordinate all those lights. I don't know if you remember, if you were on the committee at the time, but that was one of the first things that he did before we had the Encinal light in, was working on those signals.
We had to light people out the other day, working on the timing, because we had a teacher who was hit by someone running a red light right there at Encinal Middlefield at 7:45. So, it's, it's a huge problem. I'm just not sure this is the fix. I mean, there's gotta be a fix out there, but I'm not sure this is it.
John or Irv, anything to add?
None.
Okay. Larry, do you want to make a motion?
Yes. Well, I would move that maybe, or I would move that we do a test at the James Avenue gate by painting a keep clear area. Try it for 6 months and see if it makes a difference.
Do you mean James or Watkins?
No, I meant James.
So people can make up. Why not do
So
two?
this is for people coming in and out of Lindenwood at the James Gate at Middlefield to see if that helps.
Jean is suggesting trying to.
Trying to?
Yeah, 6 months is a long time. This is a problem now,
Yeah.
and I mean, 6
No,
months,
I'm saying we evaluate it after 6 months to see how it's
that's what
working.
I mean, 6
Yeah.
months is a long
Oh,
time.
3 months?
Yeah, 3 months would be
Okay.
better and do 2, and then you can see.
Do you want to try James and Watkins for 3 months?
James and Watkins might work, yeah.
That's my motion.
That's your
That's your motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed. Discussion is, I believe that we need more study. We need to listen to our police officers and look at it not just from a traffic and
All it is yes or no at this point.
I think there is discussion before the yes or no. Yes, that we have a safety issue to consider, that that instead of just an inconvenience and waiting in time issue, it is a safety issue for line of sight, and it could cause more accidents to do that, because if I'm on Watkins and there's a keep clear and the southbound traffic stops, I pull out, the northbound traffic I don't see, they're gonna hit me. And it's a big traffic issue, it's a big safety issue, so I disagree.
I have to say, I am not going to support the motion, sorry.
Okay, 2 opposed. All right, thank you, Barb. That was item 6.2. We will move back to item 6.1. And could I have a clarification? It says in front of it 2723, but in
Yeah,
our
there's an extra number in there.
minutes from
273.
273.
Oh, I couldn't
Oh,
find this.
hello.
I'm driving, so where is
Here we
this?
go, 273.
Hi,
Visited
James
this
Atwell.
before.
I'm representing the Gelbrigts family of 273 Alameda. They've been here a real long time. My wife and I have been out here a couple of years caregiving. Her father-in-law passed away in March. He was 96. She's 94. We're staying over there now. I came over yesterday and she was, her water was overturned. She vomited. She called the ambulance. And so she's pretty stubborn, had 24-hour help, and she fires them within 2 or 3 days. So the best we can get is someone for a few hours every day that she'll tolerate. But she's sharp as a tack, and she's set in her ways. So we spent a lot of time there. I was here 2 months ago, and Mr. Dobby seemed to be leaning toward approving 75 feet. that there's no parking zone. I was guessing 150, I didn't know what it was. I subsequently, I was asked to measure, it's only about 80 feet driveway to driveway. It's a real safety issue, so 75 feet would work. Turning left out of there on the Alameda, I lived here 10 years in the 80s, and it's, in the last 20 years that I've been gone, I went back home, and it's a real freeway out there on the Alameda, and it's, I think the problem is a civility issue. That's the main issue around here, that you have to put these signs and rocks and everything else for people to do the right thing. You know, the people, this self-entitlement and the master of the universe mentality, the old people, the old buddy, they're fine. It's just all it's new, and it's just, you just feel like shaking the streets, you know, the park, the stores, and just, you know. But anyway, so that's it. The county will be happy when Wilma's gone, because we were going to stay because it's pretty cheap, paying a couple $1,000 a year for a house in Athens and property taxes, but we're going to move back to a little more gracious way of life. And but in the meanwhile, we still have to go there a lot. We still have to take care of her. There was testimony from the Athens PD to show that it's a safety issue. I think some of you are familiar with the area. Someone mentioned perhaps putting a mirror up, like when driving out of the 7-Eleven on a driveway.
No, out of driveways in Atherton, that's the way we do it.
We're not going to do
here.
that. We're not going to do that. Someone else had mentioned that, what about if someone wanted to do this and go up Colado in Alameda and put no parking, just like a few hundred feet to the north? Well, that's the intersection of Colado and Alameda, and that's a big no parking sign there. So, I don't know what more we can do at this point.
Are you saying Joe Wade supports putting a no parking sign?
Yes, he's been out to the house. My wife had called. We called numerous times when the people. It's the daycare next door. It's not the school so much, the Los Alamitos. It's the daycare itself. Her parents have always been real nice, go along and get along. I'm dealing with an issue with a property they had in San Carlos for 50 years that people in the back 40 down there, they built a swimming pool, a spa on the property. Other people built a deck, pad, So they just, and I asked these people, what were you thinking? And they just said, well, nobody ever said anything. So people just automatically, they build on their land. So, I don't know, it's just a real attitude problem, I guess. But, so we have the family trust, the attorneys on that, and they're doing what they do. $400 an hour, and they're not very much, but somebody like as a friend.
Ed or Anthony, if you put up a no parking sign, how do you make it so that it's applicable only to 75 feet? I mean, that says no stopping or no parking.
When Duncan was here, I met with him about the size of the signs, and we came down to pretty much, if you can see the sign, then it's enforceable. He was saying about 90 feet per side was applicable. We had always gone about 50 feet a side, so about 100 feet per sign, but he was saying about 90 feet. The other thing that we talked about in the past was actually putting up 2 signs with an arrow, so saying, no parking with an arrow this way, no parking with an arrow that way, just to designate that one section as no parking, and then absolutely there's no question that you can't park between those 2 arrows.
And it is 2 driveways, so driveway to driveway is about 80 feet, and there was one at each one would solve the problem.
Then we have 2 signs. Questions or comments from members of the committee? Jean?
Well, I was over there, and I definitely think they need help. I mean, this, the traffic is fast, the driveways are contiguous, I mean, on the same property, and there's a lot of parking from the middle school. And I can really see that these people are asking for something that's moderate and useful.
Larry?
I agree. I think if the 75, are we talking about 75 feet?
75, 80 feet
Yeah.
between the driveways.
75 to 80 feet on each driveway?
No, between the
That's
driveways.
the difference between
Between the
the 2
driveways.
driveways, the distance.
Yeah, I'm in favor of it.
Elizabeth?
You know, I didn't see the property. I drove out trying to look for 2723 today. I couldn't find it, so I'm gonna abstain. I'm sorry, I didn't get to inspect your property.
I'm just questioning the value of putting a no parking strip in there. My understanding is this is so that people can get something of a start on accelerating into the traffic coming out of the driveway.
No. What it is, when you're in the driveway, driving out, I don't know if you saw one of the pictures, you can't
I was
see the
by there
left.
yesterday, or today.
Yeah, when we come out the driveway, there's only one that's the electric gate, the other one we don't really use it, but you can't see to the left when they're all parked on the street there. And, you know, when you look to the left, you can't see the traffic coming down the Alameda this way, so you're gonna pull out, you're gonna get T-bumped, somebody's gonna get killed out there. And as I said, the Alameda PD had said that he believed it was a safety issue.
So you would like this empty space on the curb there, if you will, between their home and Las Lomitas School?
Exactly.
Just that one spot?
Yeah, it's very prevalent all throughout Athens. I drove around, I just took, someone mentioned Colada and Alameda, so I just went, you know, walked a couple hundred feet, and there it was, right there, and you see them everywhere. I know there's like 11 public schools, and all the schools have them. And the neighbors are the ones that suffered. I went around Fairview and all those places, and everybody had these rocks, and my mother-in-law hates them, I'd love to get rid of them. But, you know, it's just it's dangerous.
And you're not asking for it on each driveway? Just one?
I mean, in between the two driveways, you see, there's two, they have, you know, it goes like this. And so when we usually use this one, and you can't see to the left, because these cars are all parked this way.
But then if they are coming out of the southernmost driveway?
We don't use the other driveway. Well, only one of them's electric. The other one's a big hand, that, you know, that was only like when they had cocktail
But
parties.
if you sell the property, those signs will still be there, and, you know, somebody might say, well, we have them on this side, we want them on the other side, the person buys the property. I mean, it's, you're not gonna live there forever, and so catering this to you is, you know, probably not